Good morning. This is Leo Gilling on the Leo Gilling Show. Another morning, second morning in a row that I'm here with you to speak a little bit about crime, how to deter crime, um, and what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and how it is that we can make things better for us in the diaspora to want back to Jamaica for vacation, to retire, to live, whatever it is. Um, there are things that we can do, but we also need to know them. We need to know them as a people, as our residents living in Jamaica. We need to know them. The law enforcement need to remind themselves of it. The law enforcement, the court, the prison system, what we call corrections, all need to be reminded. I'll tell you this: they're trying to do a wonderful job in Jamaica. The courts, I respect the prison system doing its best with the little resources, and also police officers doing their best. Today, I want to go into a topic called deterrence. That's deterrence. And if you look, it's flashing across the screen. Deterrence, the act of making someone decide not to do something. So you deter them. So if you create something for someone not to do something, then you deter them from doing something, whether it's good or bad. In this case, we're talking about crime. So we're talking about deterrence, deterring people from doing crime. What does that mean? Do you remember do you remember anything in your earlier years that your mom said to you that you still hold true today, that you will never do it? Do you remember anything that she slapped you on the hand for or beat you for, and you say, I will never do that again? That's deterrence. Mom was deterring you from doing something that you shouldn't do. So you put your hand in the fire and it burn you. Pow! Mom says, you should not put your hand in the fire. Your mom, she has cookies or candies hanging around, and you went in just before dinner, and she slapped you on the finger and say, hey, dinner is coming up. Do not do that. I am preparing dinner. You don't need to be eating anything. So deterrence. A rat trap is a deterrence for rat. Well, they don't really learn. But it is supposed to deter them, right? So, in the same sense, there are things in our lives we wake up every day and we create theories about what the life that we need to lead, and we say we're not going to do this because it's going to lead us down this road, this rat hole or this rabbit hole. And there is something that caused you to say that. Whatever that something is that say, hey, I am never going to do that, is a deterrence. I'm putting deterrence in a whole lot of different forms so that you understand what it means. You see, the prisons that they make down in Jamaica or anywhere in the world, it's not just for prisoners. It's not just to hold prisoners. It has a general effect. It has a general deterring or deterrence effect. The general effect says that if you know that the prison is there, and you know that if you go to prison, you are an enslaved individual. That means the corrections officers can do anything they want. Then you are going to do everything in your life not to go to prison. That's the general effects of deterrence. So you the prison is there and it hosts or hold prisoners people who do wrong. But do you want to be a part of their lives every day? You wake up every day, being around prisoners and eating bread and sugar water. No, that's not the life that you want. So whatever is it in the back of your head that says, I am not going to, or I don't want to be a part of that, that's the deterrence. So the prison structure, just the knowledge, you don't even have to see the prison if you, as long as you know what the conditions are. The knowledge of a prison and what it stands for becomes a general deterrent effect for you to not commit a crime, to go to prison. So prison is not just for the people who are there. It has that general deterrent effect. Capital punishment, the death penalty, is a deterrent. And some people say it serves as a deterrent only for the person who's going to die by hanging or by injection or by electrocution, right? But it also, in some people's minds, is a deterrent effect, the general deterrent effect for the people who are seeing this person die. And so, there's some people who argue that the death penalty is not a general deterrent. It could be if people fear enough, the whole idea of dying instantly or through electrocution. So it could serve as a general, but the thought, the professional and scientific thought is that it's an individual. Only the individual will be deterred. And so deterrence is a strategy that's used to prevent people from taking certain actions. Right? And it's like warning an individual. It's like warning, if you do this, this is going to happen, from a bad standpoint, right? A negative standpoint. If you drive 55 miles an hour in a 45-mile zone, and this is a great example of a deterrent effect, right? If you drive 55 miles in a 45-mile zone or a 25-mile zone, then what will happen? You will get stopped by the police officers. Now, listen to the argument. If you drive 55 miles in a 25-mile zone, you will get stopped by the police officer. This is the language. So the possibility of being caught is high, which means that as you drive down the street, you are going to be looking at the signpost all the time to make sure that you are within the MPH that the government set. Because if you go beyond it, then there is a high possibility that the police will stop you. And then guess what? That's deterrence. So the police puts up signs. Well, before you even get to putting up signs, just by reading the driver's manual and getting your driving certificate and getting your license is a process of deterrence, because they're preparing you that by the time you get on the road, that you'll be so scared you will stay within the limits of the law. Right? So driving outside of the law, you will get stopped. That's what the law says. You will get stopped, you will get a ticket, or you will go to prison. It didn't say you may, because if they put may, then you have the chance of, that you might not get stopped. And you put it in the context of Jamaica, we see police officers standing on the side of the street doing their work, all right? And then a taximan come and just swerve around and him gone, and the police don't do nothing. That is may. But if 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 it were a case where, hey, that taximan go through cars here and there, and he gets stopped by the police officers, get a ticket or go to jail, that serves as a deterrent. It's all over the news. Police officer. When you see the news and someone going to prison or going to court and going through the system and being processed and all of that good stuff, those are deterrents. They're deterrents. They're setting measurements in your head. They're setting pictures and images in your head so that you will, when you're on the street, work within the law. That's what the law is about. So the law is a deterrence. I'm giving you all of these situations. For deterrence to work, it must create some kind of fear consequence. The main idea behind deterrence is that it is a potential consequence. There's a potential consequence of an action that's severe or enough to deter you. People will choose not to engage in the action just because they know that if they engage in that action, they will be caught. So there has to be a fear of a consequence. The next thing in deterrence is that there has to be clear communication. What does that mean? It means that if you do this, you will get burned. Mom says, if you eat the candy just before dinner, she is going to slap you. You're afraid of getting slapped. Right? If you drive more than 65 miles an hour on the road, you will get a ticket. It's not saying that you may get a ticket. So the communication must be clear. Must be clear that you will be caught. So you drive down the street sometimes and you see a flashing light coming up, and it looks like a police car. And when you get close to it, it's just a police car parked on the side of the street, but the light is flashing. That's a deterrent because traffic slows down. People are going to stop or slow down or start driving within the speed limit when they see that light on the car. That's a deterrent. It's clear. So if you do this, then you will get that. If you commit the crime, you are going to go to jail. That's the language in the law. Okay? It doesn't say you may go to jail. If you do this, you are going to go to jail. And you learn that every day and you're out there. So majority of the people in the world know the language. So when you're driving on the street, when you see someone, you know that you can't just go and rob them because you are going to get caught. That is deterrence. Deterrence must be credible. The threat of the consequence must be credible. If people believe that the consequence will not actually happen, deterrence will fail. So it must be credible. So we can't put a law into place and not execute it. So like you see, we talked about the policeman standing on the side of the street and him see the taxi doing everything wrong, but they don't do anything about it, right? Then what happened is deterrence fails because everybody's going to see him just standing around and not giving a ticket and not taking anybody, not arresting anybody. And so it has to be credible. So the fear of consequences must be there. Clear communication must be there. It will happen if you do wrong. Okay? And it must be credible. That means when they give the threat, it must happen. That is deterrence. So we talked a little bit about the prison system in Jamaica. And if we have a low conviction rate, meaning that there are a lot of crime happening around us, people get arrested but not convicted, we're doing something wrong. Then what happened is, if the conviction rate is low, then people are going to say that it's not credible. The system is not credible. The deterrence system is not credible. So they're going to continue to break the law. And sometimes people aren't about breaking law, but if every time you get stopped, you can hand the police $100 bill and get away and you don't have to go to court, then that will always happen. People are going to take the easy way around because they're not going to get a ticket. They don't have to put aside a time to go to court. They don't have to face the judge, and they don't have to pay a penalty, whether going to prison, get the car taken away, or they just pay the policeman $100 and then gone. No deterrence. And that breaks down the system tremendously. It breaks down any direct deterrence system. And in order for deterrence to work, the police must be credible. They must do their work. They must do it fairly, justly, make people understand that they are doing their jobs anyway, even though I smile with you. I'm doing my job, right? And the system must be clear. So the prison system in Jamaica must be able to have the capacity to hold every criminal. And people must know that. Know that there is enough spaces in the criminal justice system in Jamaica so that when judges run into a person and they know that that person committed the crime and they don't have enough evidence, or they have enough evidence and they can't put them in prison because there's no space, that's a problem. Deterrence fails. Right? So we need to up the conviction rate, providing enough prison space to hold capacity so that judges can send them to prison, and then the general populace will see that everybody who commits a crime and get to go to court and they're guilty, they are going to go to prison. If they don't see that happening, if every time you see people go to court and they get off, who cares? I will commit a crime and just do a couple of days a court and then because I'm going to get away. So the deterrence fails, right? It's important that we up our conviction rate. It's important that we collect good evidence so that when it gets to court, there's no turning back. It's important that our police officers do credible work on the road or in homes so that people, the general populace, will see that the system is working and know, and everyone will fear the consequences. That's how deterrence works. There must be a fear factor in there. Fear that if me do it, I'll get caught. And the communication of what deterrence is must be clear, and it must be credible. Criminal justice laws and penalties serve as a deterrent to crime. If people know that stealing will lead to jail time, they will think twice before committing the theft. In an international policy, for example, countries often use military power as a deterrent. For example, a nation may maintain a strong military presence to discourage other countries from invading. So that's why we see all these warheads, these countries having these warheads. The higher, the more equipment that they have to protect themselves, the less possible another country will try to invade. And I must tell you, when I look at the Ukraine situation, I look at how easy it was for for the other country, Russia, to go in and start bombing, trying to take over. If Ukraine had more mightyful, if I may use that word, weapons, right? What do you think would happen? Russia would not dare go there. There's a deterrent effect there, right? So deterrence work from your home with your mom and your dad to when you go on the road driving, having your own, having to live up to the laws of the land, the laws, the rules according to your job. Deterrence work because you have to work within the confines of the rules. And the rules everybody knows. You can't steal anything from work because if you steal it, they must in a jail. And you'll lose your job and you can't get no work for the rest of your life. So you stay with it. That's deterrence. Okay? So in order for police or law enforcement to effect deterrent in the most optimum way, they have to create the fear, have to have clear communication, and be credible. All right. I'm sure that that's enough for me today. I will come back with another. This is a criminological theory, and next time I'll come back again and we'll talk about another theory that will help to bring crime down in Jamaica, in my land, because I really would like to know that some of us in the diaspora can go back and live and retire and vacation without the fear of being hurt, being robbed, being killed, or so. All right. So I'll come back again another day, tomorrow probably, or the next day. I'm not so sure. As the time permits me, I'll come back and we'll talk about. There's several criminological theories out there that we can discuss, and I'll take them one at a time each day. Thank you so much for joining the show. This is Leo Gilling, and I'll be back again soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.